Well, you can always hit it too.
I don't know which one it is.
It's the red one.
Hit it.
In the works with Brandon and Usa.
And as always, thank you, Ravi.
Thanks, Raviv. Thank you for being our only subscriber.
Yes, thank you. Wait, no, he's not. He
No.
might be. I don't know.
I mean, you might be one.
I might be. Ooh, am
I
I? Do I even follow my own?
Ew.
Yeah. Do I even listen to my own words, man?
I don't know.
Sometimes.
Sometimes I like to reflect.
Yeah. Other times, nah. Just go, ooh, yikes. We're just gonna let that be in the past.
All right. So what's our topic today?
What do you mean?
What are we talking about?
Were we talking about something?
Well, yeah. I mean, we were going to talk about something.
You sure you don't just want like 30 minutes of silence?
It was definitely your idea.
It was my idea?
It was your idea.
How did I come to that idea?
I don't know. You texted it to me.
Oh, I did.
Like 2 months ago.
That was not 2 months.
It was about a month and a half ago.
That was a month and a half
Because
ago.
our last recording was 3 weeks ago.
Oh shit.
So yeah.
That's less than a month.
3 weeks, and then our recording from 2 weeks ago, and then the idea was from the week before.
Was it?
Yeah. So that was about 7 weeks ago. That's about a month and a half to 2 months.
Okay. Well, we didn't really start thinking, or I mean, not thinking, but
yeah, it was your idea.
Chosen.
It was your idea.
Let's see. Okay. So I don't remember like the exact like phrasing.
Me neither, but what are we doing with your idea?
It was pretty much forming ideas and like, trying to generate better ideas too. Whatever the fuck that means.
Pretty much. But the way you said it was just capturing ideas.
Capturing ideas.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, you knew. You knew.
Is that what you're trying to think
it was
of?
capturing ideas. Yeah.
You're so funny. You even texted it to me.
I know. Sorry. It's been a long ass couple of weeks. And like a long ass couple. School's been kicking my ass in it. I've been losing. So it's,
oh gosh.
Yeah. No. All right.
But yeah, capturing ideas.
Okay, capturing ideas.
Yeah, that's what we did with your idea. We're trying to capture it so we can share it.
What's the point of sharing an idea?
To
I mean, you could
to spread awareness, to get people thinking.
I guess it just really depends.
Yeah.
I love saying that. Oh, it just depends, because then you don't have to answer the question, and it's also true. Because it does depend.
Yeah, it does depend. Yeah,
there is an independent variable.
It just depends on the situation, you know. This could happen, that could happen.
It just All right. Well, I'm looking at I saw your outline earlier, and you seem to have whoa, shit.
Not really.
That's a better beginning,
short.
A good breakdown. I don't have a breakdown so much, but I'd love to see or hear, because I can't see right now what you wrote and what you were thinking about.
I definitely went over more of factors that affect ideas generation.
What's the definition of an idea? No,
I don't know.
I don't care.
Did you want me to look that up?
I guess. I feel like everyone knows what an idea is.
Except an idea. Something such as a thought or a conception that is the product of mental activity. And that was from wait, what the American Heritage Dictionary of English Language 5th edition.
Damn, Google's really reaching there.
That wasn't Google. That was DuckDuckGo.
Oh. Okay.
Did you want Google?
I mean, sure. I'm just curious what other.
So, definition from Oxford Languages. Idea, a thought or suggestion as to a possible course of action.
So you don't have to have brain activity to have an idea,
I guess. Just the aim or purpose. That's the second.
I have an
definition.
idea. I'm trying to think about that.
What are you thinking of?
I don't know. I'm just trying to. A purpose for every idea. Is it purpose or like a thing? I don't know. Okay. Anyway,
I mean,
we're not here to discuss what an idea is.
I feel like an idea does have purpose to it because when you get an idea, it's usually for a. It's usually a solution.
Ideas. I guess it might. It depends on how you use idea. Because if you're like, I have an idea, like a solution, like a thing that'll solve this, a purpose. Yeah. I have an idea. Let's do this, right?
Okay, what's the other?
But then there's the I have an idea. What's your idea? And it's just some random shit, and you're like, and
okay, I guess.
No, it has no purpose. It just it's interesting. But I wonder if it's a better use of the word, like a purposeful something, thought. Like if you say thought, like, oh, I had a thought about something, or I came up with something that was random and had no purpose. I don't know. I think it works. I don't know. Ideas. Should have thought this before.
But when you're coming up with ideas, even if they're random, usually you have some, context before.
I mean, yeah, but like, I was gonna say a purple dinosaur, but that's Barney. You just come up with like a nope. These are all things now. I can't come up with a new idea. But just how about a blue couch with wings?
That'd be cool.
That's an idea, right?
Yeah.
Is it only an idea because it has potential to have a purpose, or can it just
be?
Is it still an idea if it's just chilling?
Yes.
I don't know.
No. Okay. I see.
I think I understand that definition.
Yeah.
Like that had a purpose.
Well, enough of the definition.
I love the definitions because I have to think about the words in the definition, and then I'm like, what does this actually mean? Because you use it in a
it just depends.
It depends. Yeah. You use it in an intuitive way, like you know what the word means based on social context. That's how you learned it.
Mm-hmm.
And then you look at the definition, and you're like, how does this apply to what I already know? Kind of strange. Okay, take it away.
So, like I said, I just went over factors that just affect the generation of ideas.
Mm-hmm.
And
generation as in
like creating.
Yes. Not like
no, just creating.
You know what's interesting? A new generation, meaning like creation of.
Oh shit! Sorry, I just noticed. When we were recording, I hired up the frame rate.
Oh, yeah. But anyway,
okay,
you think sorry, way off track. But generation with the definition thing again, like another generation.
Yeah, it just depends on the context.
It's another creation of like a wave of creation, another generation, like you're generating these people.
Maybe that's where it came from.
Maybe, probably.
We're generating a new line of
beings. And then we're the generators for the next generation. What?
My sister's pregnant. Yeah.
No way.
I forgot to mention that to you.
Is that something we need to? Did she tell everyone already?
I mean, my mom already told everyone.
Okay, I'm like, do we have to?
My mom's way too excited.
All right, gotcha. Wow.
Yeah. Expected due date. I will just say it's around my birthday.
Bro, we're getting old.
Yeah.
Jeez. Wow.
But yeah, so I just forgot to mention that. That's a little fun fact. Generation. Yeah.
That's so cool.
Yeah. I forgot that.
How could you forget that? Like,
I mean, it's just I'm the type of person who
just forgets important shit.
I mean, it's more of just I have to be reminded through conversation.
Oh yeah,
it has to be related
because you know already. You just you forget to tell.
Yeah,
which it makes sense.
Yeah. Okay. Anyway, but yeah. generation. That's
babies.
That's a good thing. Babies. So the big factors that I found was just really fear of failure, the lack of confidence, and just group dynamics.
So what do they do? Is that how ideas are generated? Or wait, what are you?
It's how they're not generated.
Oh, how they're stifled.
Yeah, stifled. So I kind of went that route.
Okay.
Also isolation.
Yeah, I thought about that too. Oh wait, I think I texted.
Yeah, you did. I made sure to add something about isolation.
I was like, no way. How did you? Okay.
But what are your thoughts about just
What are my ideas?
yeah, what are I mean,
With no purpose.
well, just with the
thoughts.
fear of failure and just creating those ideas.
Well, fear of failure isn't. It can stifle, but it could also be a generator as well. Because I mean, you don't want to fail, so you're gonna. It's gonna put the pressure on, and oftentimes that's what's necessary.
There are two sides to a coin.
I mean, because if you think our whole existence as people was, fear of death, I'd say that's kind of ultimate failure in a way.
Yeah.
And that, I mean, that's a pretty good motivator, and our whole body is like programmed around trying not to die, and we do creative things not to die.
I feel like that's getting into a whole separate thing. That's kind of going into like, what is it called? Like newism or something?
I don't know.
Like just knowing that you'll die, you don't care. But there are two sides of that where you're
like, oh man,
do whatever the fuck you want.
Or you're like, nihilism. I
nihilism.
thought you said nihilism or something.
I don't remember. But yeah.
I don't know about that, but well, it could go that way. But I'm just saying, as far as fear of failure, sometimes that fear of failure, the fear that, if you keep taking steps toward this way, you're going to fall off a cliff.
Yeah.
You don't want to fall off a cliff, so you're going to take steps that way. And, or try to find creative ways to not go in that direction. So I'd say fear of failure in that sense would be a motivator, but fear of failure can also be paralyzing. And I think that has to do with stress responses. That, if there's a stressor, you got your fight, flight, and freeze, I think is what it is now.
Yeah.
And so what are you going to do? I think the paralyzing thing would be freeze. That would be where like test anxiety or something, where you're like, oh shoot, I have to perform. And you just like thinking about what you have to do and not thinking about what you're going to do next, like how you're going to do it. So I guess it could be both. It depends.
It depends. But yeah, no, I like how you added the whole anxiety thing. That's something that didn't really pop into my head when I was doing this. But yeah, I would definitely say when I'm talking about this fear of failure, it's definitely more anxiety based. Just because, as someone with social anxiety, I care a lot about what people think, and sometimes it's just hard to just put an idea out there because I'm not necessarily comfortable with, sharing that.
So like speaking your idea, not just like having it.
Yeah, speaking my idea.
Putting out there, sharing them. Because then you get, you're being judged. Oh, your idea is not good enough. Oh,
no, yeah, definitely. It's really the fear of rejection.
Yeah.
And that kind of goes in with, just group dynamics as well. Just because, when you're sharing your idea, it's usually with another person or just a group. And regardless if it's a single person or a group, there's still that factor that's just like, oh, they could still think it's, complete shit.
Well, yeah, and then
when they're really close to you and they wouldn't necessarily do that,
because it can be context driven and also depends on the group. Like what?
No, definitely.
If you're with a bunch of people who really like racing, and you're like, let's go paint, that might be a bad idea.
Yeah,
they might go, what the fuck? And you'll feel that shame of rejection, kind of, I guess. But
yeah, just like depending on the people you're with, if anything, your idea will be built upon rather than, destroyed and just, topple down. It's just,
I do like ideas that are formed from group dynamics, though, because what's fantastic is the clashing of ideas in a positive environment and sometimes in a negative one. But when you have ideas and they go against each other, oftentimes you find new and better ideas out of that.
No, definitely. And that's what I'm talking about when you're like building on top of each other.
Because here's like you have an idea, say, and you're in a group. Oftentimes, if everyone's just, yes men, like, yes, oh, perfect idea. We could add all this stuff on top of it. Maybe that initial thing was just so like wrong that it invalidates the rest of it.
Yeah.
And you just wasted your time.
Uh-huh.
But other times, people are like, oh, let's do this. Oh, that's a great idea. Let's add this on top of it. Like you were saying, build on top of it.
Let's add this on. Maybe we could get rid of this,
or
because
let's
of this
augment
reason.
this here. And your idea becomes more than your idea. It becomes more than their idea. It becomes something new. And I think that's pretty cool. And I really like the clashing of ideas too, because that, it's a little more painful because it involves sometimes you being wrong.
Yeah. No, definitely.
And that's where you got to get out of your own way in that sense. But it's really cool because then you could see what are the good parts of that idea, what are the bad parts of that idea, and you could just kind of scrape off what you need. Of course, sometimes you can't. With certain ideas, there's always going to be some sort of negative that tails on with it. Like some people say, no free lunch. Like there's always the other side of the coin, stuff like that. But I find it cool how it just ideas are built. And I wonder, can you get to the ultimate idea?
That's
purpose.
Yeah,
I don't know, because if you think if there's a such thing as like better ideas or better for different situations, at one point can you build the best idea?
Is there ever
a best idea?
Isn't this
it depends.
Isn't the point of this podcast to continually improve oneself?
Yeah, it's because there's so much out there. We're not going to get to it. Yeah, just give me infinity and I'll get there.
Oh yeah. Uh-huh. Yeah, here you go. Here's infinity for you.
Thanks, man. I needed that.
Okay.
Anyway.
But I don't know what.
Oh yeah, we were talking about some like group dynamics. I don't know what.
Oh yeah, like you mentioned the similar thinking. That in a way, similar thinking in a group can also impact and stunt your idea
it can be good for like flow, but then you could have massive blind spots.
Yeah, no, definitely. So
I think in a group, I guess it's just how can you have similar enough ideas or ways of thinking so that it's easier to think together, but it's also easier to have clashes of ideas.
I want to say different perspectives are definitely important because if you all have the same, then it's just
massive blind spots.
Yeah.
Everyone will be like, oh, this is a fantastic idea until, they get smacked from the side. No one was looking. And then they're like, oh shit. But I guess trying to cultivate an environment or relationships with people to where you can breed ideas without having to put your ego into it, without your personalities clashing, or at least, I guess that, because you can have great ideas in different perspectives, but if you guys clash, then you're not going to be able to make those ideas the best they can be. Not sure. Something like that.
But yeah, that's all I really have about just
ideas in general,
or just the
generation of ideas,
the generation of the cripplingness of
the
generation.
Negative.
Yes, the negative part.
Negative. Okay, so that's all negative. Do you have positive?
Oh
we
wait,
probably
also
have
isolation.
Oh, hold on. We'll get to that in a second.
Okay,
I'm just curious.
I'll save that. I'll save that.
Yeah, because that's on having ideas, I guess. Because capturing ideas is kind of, when I was looking at it, it's a little more simplistic than I thought. It's again a habits game more.
Okay,
but anyway.
Okay, so looking at my thing, I actually have main topic wise is just like how to capture more of like ways that can help you capture ideas and then developing those ideas.
Okay.
So I mean, other than that, I
well,
take it away.
Let's get some generation of ideas. Okay, one of them that I came up with, or not I came up with, that I found, and also I often thought about this as a kid, is having a problem.
What?
If you have a problem, you're going to try to solve it.
Yeah.
So you're going to come up with ideas. So this may not help if, you need ideas for a problem. if you're trying to solve a problem and you're like, I need ideas for this. having a problem may not, it's like redundant. It's like, yes, I have a problem. This isn't helping me. But say you're an artist, you're like, I need to paint. I don't know what to paint. I want something creative. I don't just want to go and paint something. Although a lot of people say you just go and paint something and creativity comes, and it's more of a job than a something that just happens.
Yeah.
But having a problem breeds creativity, and we know that in every step of humanity. Oh, I don't have food. How do I collect food? How do I grow food? How do I make this food better? Oh, I don't have this. Oh, the weather. Fuck, dude.
I understand.
Build a shelter,
Recently, like an example about the food thing is in Minecraft.
Yeah.
I'm tired of killing all these cows. I'm tired of growing all this wheat to make bread. And
So you automatic.
So I'm going to find this everlasting steak and just eat it.
Everlasting steak? What?
Yeah, it's a mod pack.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess I guess that'll
solve my hunger issues for eternity.
Minecraft. Yeah. Because I guess that would be one of the solutions would be make automatic farms, and then another creative idea would be, how about we just make it so that it's an everlasting steak and just modify the game. There you go. But yeah, have a problem, and I'd say try not to have problems that will negatively affect you.
Yeah.
I'd say just put yourself in situations that you have to solve something. That's it. Something that I've always said, even like I think it started around middle school when I kind of noticed it. I'm like, limitation breeds creativity. If there are no limiting factors, sometimes nothing happens. So if you have limitation, then people get really creative to overcome limitations. So.
Yeah, you see a giant wall, just grab a ladder.
Yeah. Yeah. And if most of the time, so the most creative things that happen is when people are in a pinch, like, hey, I don't have a lot of this material or money or something. And then they find this brilliant way of getting more of that material or using that material to its fullest extent, or getting money somehow, or using that money in a very efficient way. And then now you have like this very efficient process that otherwise you just wouldn't have done if you had not been limited in that supply.
Yeah.
We here have like water out the ass, so we kind of waste water a lot. We throw it around, we bathe in it, shower, you know what I mean? Just a lot of water goes everywhere. In other places, it's like there's barely any water, or clean water for that. And so water is like this prized thing,
Yeah.
So, yeah. Let's see. Oh, listening. So pretty much that goes with observing, but oftentimes ideas are right in front of your face. People talk about them. People have great ideas, and this is where the capturing of ideas comes into play, and the identification of ideas. You may have a great idea, you just don't know it. Somebody else may know it because they have a better context for that idea. And you may be talking to someone about something, you tell them something, and they're just like, oh my God, that was a fantastic idea. And you're like, I don't see how this could apply. And then they go do something crazy with it.
Yeah.
So just listening to people, you may find ideas right in front of your face. Listen to yourself. What are you saying? Also, observing your surroundings. It's like no brainer. There's so many interesting things, so many things happening for inspiration. I mean, you look outside, you look at like plants and the structures of how plants are, and I don't know, a lot of functions of the earth. You could gain a lot of inspiration of what is already happening. How can I maybe solve this problem using what I see? Or if like an artist trying to find, something to paint, there's some very interesting shapes that exist out there.
Yeah.
And very interesting colors and interactions. And if you just look around, maybe you'll see something and you go, oh, I like a piece of that. I like a piece of that. And you combine the two.
And that's the idea.
Yeah. So just look around and listen. Oftentimes ideas are right there. Another one. Oh, yeah. Yeah. So another one for creating ideas or just generating them is the isolation. So what did you find on that? So isolation is pretty much just isolating yourself. Um, yeah, for generation of ideas and other things.
For isolation, there's still that good side and bad side. It just depends.
Are you talking about isolation in general or like doing an isolation?
In general.
In general, okay.
So like I said, it's just in general. When you isolate yourself, you are very limited on your resources and what you can do because you're pretty much just alone. Unless you have, depending on what you have, what you do, if you don't really have anything, say you're locked up in your room, you don't have anything to work on, anything to do.
I'd say there's almost less mirrors in a sense.
Yeah.
Like people are kind of mirrors.
So
they show you your context.
Yeah. So just less resources. There's really nothing you can do. Whereas, you do have something, maybe you just have like a computer and
Oh, you mean like completely isolated, not just like social isolation?
Yeah.
Okay.
Completely isolated. Just like I said, just in terms of resources in general, people, objects, just things.
Gotcha.
But yeah, if say you have like a laptop and you really like doing music, you can just start making music out of nothing. And that could be your thing to do.
And you have nothing else to do. So
yeah. So like I said, it kind of goes back and forth. Everything we really talk about does.
It depends.
It just depends.
There's a balance. Yeah.
But yeah, like also depending on the person, you could come up with an idea, keep it to yourself, and then just kind of forget about it.
Yeah.
That happens to at least half of the population.
I like the phrase, this person has forgotten more than you've learned.
That is a good phrase.
Yeah, because you're like, oh shit. Like,
yeah. No, definitely. There are a lot of times where I have an idea and then I just completely forget about it in maybe the next whatever seconds.
And that's part of this, like the capturing of.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah. So there's just not being able to share those ideas, and because you're not really sharing them and you're just keeping them to yourself, it's that aspect of, when people say, when you say something out loud, you bring it to like life.
Yeah, and
you bring
reality.
it into reality. So it's pretty much the same thing. You just kind of keep it to yourself and you just kind of forget about it.
Yeah, unless you act upon it.
Yeah, unless you act upon it. That's where the resources come in, like the laptop. You can start creating music if you like doing that.
So I wonder if you're putting ideas out there, one, I guess it could be making sure the idea isn't lost. So you may not act on this idea, or you may not know that this idea is as critical as it could be. But someone else with a different context, different background, different, expertise, they may hear that and go, that's brilliant. Or have inspiration off of that. And then they can do something with that. So it's almost like, let's not let an idea go to waste. Let's not let inspiration, just fade away inside your own mind. Allow it to be out there for other people to kind of like, oh, I like that, and run with it.
No, definitely. You see that a lot with technology. Just having open source, coding that people can use to improve on and add their own, twist on it. But yeah, that's really what I have for isolation. You don't really have anyone to bounce ideas off of, to build ideas, improve them, that sort of stuff.
Okay. So what I have for isolation is not necessarily like isolation in general, like being isolated. It's more of doing an isolation, as in you are going out or wherever to be isolated for the purpose of ideas or solving a problem. And kind of what that entails, the purpose, what it would be like is, going either into your house or maybe somewhere, because you got to be free of distractions, or like an empty room, house, whatever, you rent to Airbnb, chill there, you set up there for like a week and you don't do anything else but think about or spend time on the idea or the purpose or the problem, and you think about that or work on that. So one of the biggest things is no distractions, because distractions will interrupt your chains of thought. It'll be an out, as in, oh, if you don't want to think about this hard thing, I'm just going to go do this other thing. Oh, I'm just going to go do this. Oh, I'm just, it's ways out of facing ideas or problems. So you have to be away from distractions. You have to kill all distraction, not like physically kill distract. I mean, like, just remove them from your environment or block them out.
No, you have to murder them.
You have to. Yeah, no, don't quote me on that. Be alone, because unless, depending on what you're specifically doing, like maybe for say music, you're not going to be alone and you could do a group isolation in a sense. But the one I'm talking about is more personal.
Yeah.
So don't be with another person. They're another distraction. It's something your mind is putting energy toward that is not what you're looking for here. And again, like you can go and think about things with people. Like, I'm not saying that's bad. It's just this specifically is a method of coming up with ideas. So they say take about 4 to 7 days. I mean, to do like a serious one for ideas. Imagine thinking about one idea for 4 to 7 days straight, like all day. That's all you do. I mean, that's a lot more thought than people usually put toward things.
Yeah.
So, but if you can't do that, do anything that you can, but try to make it a good chunk of time for this generation of ideas. Something I heard was make time a mystery. So cover watches on the wall, or cover watches, cover clocks. Someone went so far as to say, cover all your windows. Don't let yourself know what time it is. When you're tired, you'll sleep,
Yeah.
But don't let yourself be distracted by the passage of time. You don't want that to be another thing in your brain, just bouncing around like, oh, it's 2:00. I usually do this, or, oh man, I've been at this for this many hours. No, don't make it. You're sitting here with an idea or with a problem to solve. Do not, don't allow yourself the awareness of passage of time.
But listen to your body. You still need food and water.
Onto that.
And bathroom breaks.
Onto that. It did say eat minimal food. So almost like a fast, or like
maybe like
calorie reduction. Yeah. Because food, again, is another distraction. It's something that you could become gluttonous. You're like, well, I got nothing else to do. I'm just going to eat. And one of the biggest purposes is you want to be uncomfortable, because, comfort is just going to coddle you, and you could always run to comfort when you're bored, when you don't want to face the problem, when you don't want to explore ideas. You just run to think about it. Like, you've ever been like, I don't want to do this, and then you just go lay in bed.
Yes, sometimes.
Take a nap, whatever, or get on your phone while you're sleeping. You know what I mean? And yeah.
So I've also been on the opposite spectrum where I have just focused on something entirely, forgot to eat, forgot to drink.
Exactly. So
and it's very unhealthy.
So there's a balance. It depends. No, but it's the idea that you can use food as a distraction, and also eating a lot can make you really tired as well, and you want to be focused on what you're doing. And there's other things with like fasting and what that does for the body, like mentally, and I don't want to get into that. I'm not a big expert on that, but that apparently that can be good too. But yeah, you want to make things uncomfortable. So like no blankets, an uncomfortable bed, or at least comfortable enough to fall asleep, but not comfortable enough to where you're going to go run there, or make it a roll up bed. Like I know there are mats out there that, hey, it's comfortable to sleep on. When I wake up, I roll up the mat, put it away, something like that. Just don't allow yourself a place to run away to. They said cold showers, something difficult like that. And exercise as well. Exercise is just good for the brain, but also like some light exercise. I know walking is good for thinking too. So stuff like that. But the main purpose is to remove all distractions, make things kind of uncomfortable, and face your idea or your problem. And they say writing is going to be your friend here. If you're just sitting with an idea, writing, maybe if it's music, maybe it's not, pen and paper, maybe it's you have your setup, it just depends on what you're doing. But write down or think about things from every single angle you could possibly think of about that topic.
Mm-hmm.
This is why a lot of time you want to set aside a lot of time, because if you're writing for every angle or from every angle, it's a lot of work and you're going to need a lot of time to do that. And so that's kind of what it is. You're going to think about something from every angle and just keep building it up, go through it, like put it up to the test of scrutiny in yourself and your mind during this whole thing. And at the end of it, you come out with all this shit written down, all these captured ideas for say, that when you're on the outside, you can now find context for. Because when you're alone, things sound freaking great, right?
Yeah.
Like, oh, I'm a genius. I know everything.
Yeah.
And then you go and you're like, oh, fuck, that's stupid. So big transition from, being isolated to going back into, say, life. Make sure you have your stuff written down. Kind of curate the information.
Yeah.
Kind of look over it again. This may be something to do again, like when you're kind of in it already toward the end, is make sure you distill your information down to some actionable steps, and then you go and do them. Go and do them. And that's the biggest part, is when you come out of it, you act. So now you have ideas, now you act on those ideas. Because otherwise, what do? They just slip away. You forget about them. So that is an isolation, something that I've heard of that I would love to do. I have no idea when I'd do it or over what specific topic.
That's going to be a bit rough to find that time.
Yeah, whole last week or 4 days even.
Mm-hmm.
But that's probably why it's so powerful too, and that's maybe
true.
Why it's so good. But yeah, that's a way of generating ideas and capturing them all in the same thing. So yeah, what do you think about that when you hear it?
What about the isolation?
Yeah.
For me, that is a bit extreme. Definitely just because, having the, few days or a whole week pretty much to yourself it's
hard to do.
Yeah, it's definitely hard to do because, you have friends, you have you have connections, you have relationships.
Yeah, I've heard people who talk about it, just like, yeah, let people know, or at least the people that you're constantly in contact with. If you have children, if someone else could watch them, people you trust, don't just like, hey, can you watch my kid for a week? Make sure they've, looked after them before, they're down to look after them for that long.
I totally understand that.
It is,
I guess in my head, it's more of yes, you tell them what you're doing, but in that time, you're not telling them anything else. You're not, you're not going to respond to their messages. You're not going to do anything. You're just going like pretty much off the map.
Yeah. In a sense. Yeah. Which is interesting because there was a time where, there were no phones, radios, internet. And if you left somewhere, that's pretty much what you were doing. But
now, after 24 hours, you can call the cops and say this person's missing.
Yeah.
So,
which is crazy.
That's definitely a bit on the extreme side.
Yeah, I'd let people know first. Be like, hey, by the way, you're not going to hear from me in 4 days. For 4 days.
And I know for me personally, if I just did that for a week, people would assume I'm just dead and I probably wouldn't have a girlfriend.
Well, I would assume you'd tell her first.
No, I would.
You'd be like, hey, this is what I'm going to do.
But you also have to think about the other person as well.
Oh, yeah. No, I'm not saying just, hey, by the way, I'm doing this. Bye.
But yeah, in an idealistic world.
But it's like 4 days. Though. It's only 4 days.
Yeah, but that's 4 days without giving attention to a person that you are committed to. Yeah.
I feel like
Yeah,
if
can
you
say
do that, if you do that once a year,
you can say all you want, but it will impact the other person a lot.
yeah, and you gotta have a good setup, going into it. You gotta be like, hey, this is what's gonna happen. I got all these things for you when I'm away.
That I don't think that's gonna cut it.
It's 4 days.
I would like to see you try.
I'm gonna do it.
Okay, go ahead. Let me know how that goes.
And I guarantee she'll be fine. She'll be like,
okay.
4 days, or you should like it'll be a conversation for sure. But I think it'll be fine.
Okay.
When to do that? I think when is the bigger for me at least.
I guess in this it also depends.
It depends
on the outside factors, your relation to these people. Like your mom or your dad could just be totally cool with it.
Yeah.
Your significant other could just be completely cool with it, but it just depends on the person.
I'd say so.
Yeah.
I'm gonna do it.
Okay. No. Let me know after when you're done. When you start. When you're done.
I was looking into this and I was like, I really want to do this. I want to try it. Because,
no, it's definitely interesting.
Here's the thing. It's not just like a thing for ideas. It's also a test of discipline and character. And I mean, fuck, dude. Like, covering up the windows, I probably won't do that because I think light is important for sanity. But just covering up all the clocks, not having your phone. I mean, I've gone a day or two without my phone. Probably more like a day, but in recent time, I haven't gone that long without my phone. So you'd probably notice, when your mind is reaching for something that's not there. You're like, oh, my phone. Oh, I can just, oh no, I can't. I'm right here. Hey, focus. Like, hey, I'm working on this idea, and just watching your mind kind of shift toward the regular things it's used to, and then go, oh, it's not there. Now we're trying to do this, but I want to, and just being able to just watch that as it happens and not give in to any sort of like, hey, I'm just going to go do this now.
Yeah.
I mean, I still have my keys in my pocket. I can leave at any moment, So
I definitely think you can gain a lot from
even more than
isolation.
just like an idea. If you're focused on an idea, I'd say just in regular character development and just.
No, you can definitely change your whole perspective in that time.
Because if you're not doing anything else, if you are quite literally distraction free, then that's a lot of time to think.
No, definitely.
And I think that's kind of a powerful tool, and that may be why it works so well, is because your brain, it's like it gives it a break of all this incoming information and then kind of allows it to just process that all and put it together and go, let me think about this. So I think that's fascinating.
That is fascinating.
So as far as capturing ideas, because I feel like most thing we've been talking about is really just having ideas, but I guess it's kind of in the same realm of capturing, because I feel like ideas are just out there.
Yeah, I feel like all we can really say is more of how we can help capture those ideas.
Or better ideas, I think, is what, like, developing ideas is what you had on there. I know for capturing ideas, recording yourself, writing them down, and having some sort of organizational way of sorting ideas. I've heard like bullet journals, stuff like that.
Just some people like do more visual things. People just kind of make like mind maps, kind of like TV shows with those investigations with photos and like string, that sort of stuff. Just ways just to map out what they're thinking.
Yeah. And so I think capturing ideas it kind of goes with actually getting to the ideas. The capturing of them is getting to the idea, I'd say, and then putting it somewhere. So I would say the actual putting it somewhere, it depends on what you're doing.
Yeah.
But getting there, getting to the idea, I think is very important. That's probably like the biggest thing, because if you don't have a fully fleshed out idea, you're like, you could put that down on paper, but you're still like, man, I don't really know. And that could be a step to really fully fleshing it out, is putting it on paper, which I'd say do that. But yeah, you gotta to actually capture that idea. You definitely have to get to it first.
Yeah. Um, have you recently had an idea that you like?
An idea, like one idea.
Just ideas that
Ideas
you,
in general. Well, I
yeah.
mean, yes, because I mean everyone has ideas. It depends on what. It depends on what you mean idea wise, as in like big idea, like what.
Okay, something that you just kind of wrote down and you're thinking about acting on it.
Wrote down. See, this is the problem. I don't. I actually struggle with writing things down. That's the biggest.
That's just the person with the notebook.
I know. You know how difficult it is for me because I've always been so used to trying to like keep everything in my head and like sorting it here and there
Mm-hmm.
and I think it's something I've been trying to incorporate more is journaling and writing, but it's it's a struggle because sitting down and writing, distractions everywhere is really what's going on, and I just don't have that habit yet.
Mm-hmm.
So an idea lately, um, I'd say school. Regarding school, is trying to um, find better times to study that work with me.
Mm-hmm.
So I've been analyzing an issue of when I get home at this time, what is my first action that I do,
Mm-hmm.
and where does that lead? And so what I had ideas for is when I get home, starting a different action to lead a different string of events. Because sometimes, not all the time, I'll get home. First thing I do, I'll set my stuff down, and then everything rushes in that with the you have to do blank 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 blank, and
Yeah.
it's like, okay, you should probably take out your dog. I gotta sneeze, maybe.
Bless
Excuse me. But okay, you gotta take out your dog. So I
Mhm.
go take out my dog. That's you're hungry because it's in the evening or at night, depending on when I get home.
Mm-hmm.
So now you need to go eat. Oh, you're tired. You should probably take like a 15-minute nap. Oh, but before the nap, I have to, go do this, go do that. I should probably clean up. And you start doing all this bullshit. And then it turns out, that was 3 hours of bullshit.
Mm-hmm.
And then you sit down to go work on something and you're just like, I'm tired.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to do this. And so your actual study session is lukewarm. Like it's not efficient. You're not really putting much in your brain.
Mm-hmm.
And so my idea, I would say like my idea, but the idea you were speaking of is how could I change that string of events? So
yeah.
And I realize once I do one thing, it kind of cascades into the other. So lately, I've been doing it so before bed, I try to clean everything up that I would immediately go to with my brain,
Mm-hmm.
so that the next day, I'm not gonna, when I get home, I'm not gonna be like, oh shit, this mess. So clean that up. The dog can't help. Gotta take the dog out.
Yeah.
But the next step is once I come inside, what am I gonna do? Am I gonna go eat a bunch of stuff? Maybe I should work on something first. Okay, maybe I'm a little hungry. I'll start doing something else just to break that initial cycle of, okay, take out the dog, eat, and then after I eat, I get lazy, and then just going down there. Or maybe I take a small snack and I say I'm gonna just take a small snack instead of trying to eat a whole meal. Just a small snack, eat it, get to work. And so I'll work on something for a set amount of time, then go eat something. So at least I got something done first, then I eat. And so, it just disrupts the chain a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of been the things I've been thinking about lately is how can I disrupt these string of events
Mm-hmm.
that just cascade into each other and then roll out the whole day. Next thing you know, you're like, where the fuck did my day go? I didn't really get much studying done. This sucks. I'm in a really terrible mood. Now I got to go to sleep, do it all over again. But I feel so off step that it ruins the next day too. So
in my head, I'm picturing a timeline. You're making a new timeline.
Exactly.
And I'm picturing both both timelines happening at
At
once.
the same time.
And I'm just like, which one will be more successful?
I do that all the time. Oftentimes I have a decision point and I go, okay, I just ate. Now it's decision time. What do I do next? And see, this is where the issue happens. See, I've been analyzing myself. The issue happens at that decision point because they make a big deal about it.
Yeah.
What ends up happening is what makes something fall into another event is that kind of place to run to, because I don't want to face the decision that do it or don't.
Yeah.
So think of the person procrastinating where they're like, oh man, I have to, write this paper. And now I've just cleaned my entire house, which I hate doing. So stuff like that, where I'll just run to the side and, well, I have to do this. I have to, take my dog out. I just ate. Well, I have to clean up everything now, which I usually clean as I go, just so I don't have to do that. And then after that, I'm like, yeah, now I'm like tired from cleaning. I'll just lay on the floor for a second. Right? It's like, well, I'm not feeling up to it. Maybe I should go, go outside, refresh. And, it just everything just cascades in this just very specific thing. So I've noticed those strings of events. And so my idea is just to try to kill those strings of events, not let them happen before they happen, so that I could actually get something done. And yesterday I did that after I missed my test. I cannot believe I did that.
In another timeline, you did make it to that test.
I cannot believe I missed that test. Oh God, it still gets to me. But anyway, I woke up and I was like, oh man, I'm gonna get something to eat, because I woke up later. I was like, wait a minute. I usually don't eat early anyway.
Yeah.
Because I was about to start that string of events. I'm like, stop. First thing I did, I woke up, I took a cold shower, because I know I always feel good after a cold shower. So I'm like, I'm going to make sure I feel good first. So I did that. Boom, done. Took my dog out, because I have to do that. And then immediately I sat down at my desk, and without like if, and, or buts, I opened up my MATLAB program, because I'm in a programming class and that's what I was working on. And I just opened that up. And I'm like, all right. So now I'm not at a big decision point. The program's already open. I got nothing else to do. I cleaned up the previous day.
Yep.
And then I got a good amount of my homework done.
Nice.
So it's just one of those things where I'm just trying to, that's the ideas that I've been trying to figure out, is how can I kill string of events like that? How can I be more in control of every one of my decisions, per se, and that I can make it so that I don't have to worry about passing or failing my decisions.
Yeah.
It's easier just to pass them, and that's still a difficulty, and I'll definitely fail a lot more, but trying to be more conscious in every decision and not just become a string of code, just like, if this happens, then do this, and then you'll do this, and then you'll do this, and just waste days away. So
yeah, I get you.
Yeah. Sorry, that was kind of a tangent, long one. I don't know where
if it was a long tangent, it was probably important to you. So
yeah, well,
I mean, it is.
I mean, you were saying what were you thinking of, or an idea recently?
Yeah.
And I was like, what's an actual idea I've been thinking about? And that's one that popped up. And I probably talked about it so much because it is important, because that's like that's like one of the biggest troubles I've been facing lately, is, just the succession of events like that.
Yeah.
So, yeah. I don't know. Sorry. I just totally went so far off. I don't remember where we were. Did you have anything else on that over there?
Well, just quick points.
Okay, yeah, go through them.
Just really,
yeah, I talked for too long.
Just refining your ideas.
Okay.
Just seeing what needs to be worked on. We'll see. This is shitty. Let's improve that. Boom, done. You could do that yourself. Have someone give you feedback. That sort of stuff. Just very basic, general stuff. Like ways to expand your idea is just learning different aspects of things. Like maybe, you want to do this thing, so you need, this prerequisite. What? I can't even say.
Prerequisite.
Yes, prerequisite. For A and B to make your product. That sort of stuff. The whole isolation thing. I did have that. Being isolated, that can also help you think outside the box. That sort of stuff. You kind of went over that already. And
you're like taking a step back from the usual processes. So sometimes you could see the game from a bird's eye view.
Yeah, definitely. And then, just to test your ideas in the real world, because that's where it kind of matters. You're bringing it into the real world, into reality. That's where it needs to be for you to know if it works or it doesn't work, to, restructure it or improve on it.
I always thought that was interesting because that testing in the world, it reminds me of like when there were some entrepreneurs talking about stuff, and they were just like, really to see if it's a good idea, see how it goes in the market. How does the market like it? And some ideas, it's just not the proper time for it.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Which doesn't mean it's a bad idea. It's a bad idea now.
Yeah, you're just kind of like testing the waters. Does this work?
Yeah, and in a different time or a different context, that same idea could work. But it's just kind of interesting that when you in a more practical situation like an entrepreneurship situation or a business type situation, the market will tell you if it's a good idea.
Yeah,
because then you'll be successful, right?
Definitely.
Generally, there's caveats to that, but yeah.
But yeah, there's also, iterate your ideas.
Iterate.
Yeah. Just more of just like, ideas, they take time. They are always developing, so there's no rush to it.
I did want to say something before I forget, because I was thinking about this on the way here. Sleep. Get good sleep.
Sleep is very
consistent sleep. Like not just a lot of sleep. I mean like the same time every night for a relative. They say consistency of sleep is better than total hours of sleep.
Really?
Yeah. So if you're constantly getting 6 hours of sleep, that's better than like 3 hours one night and like 12 hours the next day. Just
there's no such thing as catching up on sleep.
There kind of is, but it's not going to be as beneficial or as good as just consistently sleeping. And that's where all your encoding, like memory encoding, happens. And also when you sleep, you connect ideas and your brain is refreshed and like all these crazy good things. And your brain goes over things at like, I forget, it's like 10x speed in deep sleep.
Something like that.
To record details. And then in REM sleep, it like slows it down. And supposedly that's where you're like forming connections and like, you're more creative. Like, oh, okay, we have these two things. Oh, let's put them together type ideas. So sleep for ideas. And people even would go as far as like literally sleep for ideas as in like your dreams. Like your dreams will have great ideas. Like a lot of authors, like, oh yeah, I saw this in a dream. So sleep
is important.
Sleep is good for encoding. It's good for having the energy to implement. Thank you. Implement. I was like, I knew it's the wrong word. Implement your ideas and actually forming better ones and connecting them. So sleep is a must. Do what you can to get good sleep.
Definitely.
Yeah. Sorry. Continue. I was thinking about that.
No, you're good. You're good. But like I was saying, ideas take time. It doesn't have to be all at once. You can revisit your ideas. They're gonna be there.
Oh, the reason why that reminded me of sleep is because you don't just, something you learn in a day isn't encoded just that night. It's in the process of being encoded for a long time. So, like a whole week per se, you can be encoding that information. So if you disrupt your sleep somewhere in the middle, you could actually lose a lot of that encoding of that idea that you learned on those previous days. So that's why I was like, ideas over time take time to develop. Wow, that stupid sentence. Anyway. But as far as that's, again, consistency of sleep. If you don't disrupt your sleep for a long time, it'll help with your ideas over time as well.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, sorry.
That's all I really have
Yeah.
for developing ideas.
Okay.
Otherwise, I have quick stuff for, stuff to try and set up your environment.
Okay, let's do that. Man, you got a long outline today, and I like it.
So it's just so ways you could benefit from trying to generate ideas is just just creating a safe space, whether it's by yourself or with other people.
Mm-hmm.
Just make sure everything's all good. You're free to share your thoughts and feelings about things.
You don't have to worry about egos.
Yeah, definitely.
Gotcha.
So it's just very constructive feedback, and it's just more of a supportive environment type of thing.
Don't take things personally.
Yeah. Along with that, because you're setting up that environment, especially with a group, you're definitely more open to diversity of just ideas,
Mm-hmm.
things you can implement, that sort of stuff. Just having more resources, from books, articles, just really anything. Like I said, I hate repeating the same thing, but the people you're with,
Mm-hmm.
and then just make sure to set realistic goals, because once you have that balance between having a realistic goal and like a challenge, there's that like certain part, that good middle in between where you can easily focus on that, because it's just the right enough challenge and just realistic enough to push you to do it, rather than it being too challenging.
Yeah.
And then you get too anxious.
Or it's too easy.
Too easy. And then you're just like, eh. So
Yeah.
it's definitely more of like, you need to get that middle ground to engage
A
yourself.
good way to find middle ground like that is to track yourself with
Yeah.
stuff. Like with school, I was tracking, when I was studying mentally, but still tracking, like being aware of.
Yeah.
And I kept noticing that in chunks of time that I'd say, I was going to go and study, half of that time I was preparing for something else or dragging my feet.
Mhm.
And I was just like, what if I just didn't say I was going to study that time and just used it for something else?
Yeah.
And so it became productive, because that time where I'd be dragging my feet, now I could actually focus on something else.
Mhm.
Like, hey, I do need to clean my room. I'm going to clean that up so that tomorrow I'm not fucked up. And then when I actually come to my study time, I'm like, all right, now I study.
Yeah.
And so just kind of being aware of that.
Yeah. For me, I think the
Track it.
challenge aspect is really important, just because if you're right in the middle, that can generate a bunch of focus, just so you can, generate your ideas, do what you need to do type of thing.
That goes into like flow state stuff, right?
Yeah.
And
it
apparently
does.
that shit gets deep. I
does.
had no idea. Like I thought it was just like one of those things, like people who were like, oh yeah, the flow state. Like they have a beanie on their head with their, cup of coffee. And they're just like, the flow state. Yeah, you gotta
The
get
hippie.
yeah. Well, yeah, you know
Oh,
what I'm talking
hipster.
about. Like they're an entrepreneur and they're all about the grind. They gotta work,
Mhm.
And of course there are people who look like that who are actually like doing things.
Yeah.
And then there's the trope of somebody who says all that and is just kind of fucking around
Yeah.
still. Yeah. That's who I'm talking about. I'm not talking about the people who actually are doing stuff. I'm
Yeah.
talking about
The flow we're talking about isn't necessarily the flow of adaptability, but
Yeah.
it's more of the flow of, being so immersed in what you're doing.
Yeah. And so I thought when somebody was talking about flow states and getting into that flow, I thought they were that kind of person. And I was just like, flow states. And then
Yeah.
I was hearing like legitimate people talk about, like, mention flow states. I'm like, okay. If people who are, actually very successful, credible,
Mhm.
stuff like that are mentioning flow states, and a lot of them are mentioning it. Okay, maybe there's something. I haven't heard anything about it yet. And then I recently heard an actual like professor who studied that,
Yeah.
talking about it and talking about the way the brain, like actual legitimate brain stuff.
Yeah.
Brain
It's really
neurology
interesting.
regarding flow states. And there's some debate with flow states and such. And that's where it gets even deeper. It's like, oh shit, like there's it's not just like one of those stupid things. Like it's actually
No, yeah, it's a big thing. Yeah.
It's there, and then also there are debates about it. And what's this? What's that? You know, what's the purpose? How do you get into this? You know, and I thought it was actually pretty cool. But everybody,
definitely,
when you kind of think about flow states a little deeper, you go, oh, okay, I know what that's like.
Yeah.
Being focused to the point where you're not, you know, you're not aware of your own focus. You are just in it.
Yeah.
And you are doing it, and like you are. Again, you are not too challenged to the point where, you know, you're like, fuck, this is difficult, and you just stop. But it's not too easy to where you're bored. It's like that perfect.
Yeah.
And you're just like getting information and doing things. You're just chugging along.
It's
and you're like,
good,
oh, and you just
it's definitely a good feeling.
And it happens so few times, man. Especially in my classes, bro. I do not feel like I'm in the flow state. I'm never in the flow state. I'm always in the holy shit.
No, I completely understand that. But yeah, that's all I really have.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I feel like we covered a decent amount, and we have enough information out there that somebody will find some sort of use from this conversation.
You know, if something stood out and is interesting, you know, do your own research. Take your own time.
I hate that phrase, but I say it. Do your own research.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do your own research.
Yeah, do your own research.
Yeah, Raviv.
Yep.
Do your own research.
Bro, he does his own research.
I know he does.
He's a learned individual.
Yes.
Yeah. All right. Well, I mean, that's all I got.
Well, that is
most of what I had was in my head. Probably because I've been thinking about this a little bit for a while. You know what? That makes sense. That's why I wrote it down so many months ago, because I probably had a lot of this and just floating around in my brain for a bit.
And now it's out there.
That's kind of nice.
It's in reality.
And we've also talked about it, which in itself was, you know, a conjuring of ideas. And now it's recorded. So now it's a capture of ideas.
Oh.
So now I just got to use the ideas.
Yeah, we just need to act upon it.
Act upon the ideas, which is always the most difficult part, of course.
No, most definitely.
All right. Well, I guess with that,
I'm going to play this too.
Oh, okay. When? After we?
Probably after.
Okay. All right. Well.
So we're going to shut up for a little bit.
Okay.
Just so we can put in the music too.
That's fine.
Okay.
Okay. Well, anyway, guys, you take care.
Yep.
Get some good ideas.
Yeah. Like, subscribe,
remove distractions,
notification button, bell button.
Distraction.
Follow us on Twitter where we don't tweet. TikTok where we stop making TikToks.
Jeez, you're really selling it, bro. just follow us here.
What else do you have? Spotify. We also apply to a bunch of other services that I don't remember.
Yeah, so maybe check other ones. Ooh, if they're there. It's kind of harder to search. Do we pop up?
I don't know. Probably not.
Oh, fuck.
Yeah. Hit that subscribe button. I don't know if I said that.
Yeah, you said it like 3 times.
Yeah,
no, probably
subscribe button.
No, now 3 times.
Okay, yeah, that's it.
Okay, bye.
Bye.
Thank you for watching In the Works by Brandon Musa. Subscribe and like for more.
3 times, 4 times. Okay.